WTCR FM, Huntington, Ashland, Ironton.
I feel like a lady, sing me a song.
Good evening, I'm Dan Taylor with the Tri-State Special Tribute on WTCR's Homegrown Country Show to one of the Tri-State's finest musicians who tragically passed away this week, James Michael Murphy, founder of the group Zachariah. Now, Mike and his band entertained throughout the Tri-State for over 20 years and made a profound influence on many, many local artists. Tonight, we have gathered some of his friends and former band members to pay respects to the Tri-State legend Mike Murphy. We'll hear from Billy Ray Cyrus along with Sly Dog, Steve French, Tony Maynard, Philip Dane Powell, and many others as they pay tribute to Mike and Zachariah. I had the pleasure of interviewing Mike on October 30th, 1994 on the Homegrown Show. And we'll hear parts of that interview tonight as we remember together Mike Murphy, the man and his music.
We were talking when you first came. I remember you guys playing in the early 70s at a club called Miletti's.
Yeah.
You guys are primarily, times have changed and music has changed. You primarily were a rock and roll band back in the early days. I mean, hardcore rock and roll, and country music has accepted some of the old rockers have kind of moved into the country music scene, and you've influenced so many folks. I alluded to that, and one of them being Billy Ray Cyrus. You go back quite a ways with Billy Ray, right?
Yes, bless his heart.
I know. Have a song on your cassette that we have here called Diamonds and Steel.
Right.
Have a song on there that eventually made it to Billy Ray's CD, Some Gave All. And what was the name of that song?
Never Thought I'd Fall in Love with You.
That was a big rush having the song national and one of the biggest selling albums of all time.
That was great too. Thank you, Billy.
Is there anything you can tell us about the song?
Yes, that song was co-written with Jim McKnight, and we wrote that song in the mid-'80s. And that song went through about 8 or 9 rewrites. I took bits and pieces from other songs that I just kind of filed away, and we really crafted that song. And Billy heard it and told us years before that he got the recording deal, that if he ever got a deal, he wanted to do that song on his first album. And being like Billy is, he kept his word and did it, and we've been very grateful.
Hi, I'm Steve French with the band Cash, and I used to be a big Mike Murphy and Zachariah fan through junior high and high school. That was in the early 70s and the mid-70s, and then when I was a junior in high school, I was playing with a few local bands, had a little band together. We played at high school and stuff, and I got a phone call from Mike Murphy, wanted a drummer. And I was shocked, that these guys that they, were fairly popular locally in 75 and 76. I just couldn't believe that they were giving me an opportunity to play the drums in their band. Well, at that point, I started playing the drums with Mike, and then Mike taught me how to sing. So I started singing. Mike was the first one that asked me to sing.
Paul Sally of the group Kentucky remembers a show when Mike was there.
I remember we done a little show up there the night that Zachariah was playing up there. And we all was really nervous and everything else, because we get ready to go out and do our thing, we thought. And Mike came back and was like, he was coaching us on how to what to do, and always make sure that we was facing toward the crowd, never turn our back on the crowd and stuff like that. And he was joking around with us about stuff like that. And then we turned around and I got ready to I done a little thing where I set my guitar on fire throughout the act. And I came real close to getting a hold of the wrong guitar when I got ready to do that, and he came running up the stage and jerked it out of my hand because the lights went out on us. We couldn't tell what we was doing. And he kind of freaked on that one. He said, whoa, 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 started hollering. That's my guitar. Don't do that. Don't do that. So, that was one of the funny things. And of course, I've always suspected that the guy's a songwriter and a guitar player. And he's probably a big influence of mine as far as guitar goes.
Hi, this is J.R. Gullett with the group Kentucky. I guess my fondest memory of Mike would be in 1989 when our group was called Bottoms Up. We performed Mike's song, Oh Cheap Wine, on the national TV show Be a Star. And Mike was just, when he saw the show, tears just came in his eyes. He was just really thrilled that a band would think enough of him and his music and think a song would be that great to do on a show like that. It just meant a lot to him, and it meant a whole lot to us. Mike is going to be really missed by our band. He was a big influence on our band. We've done all kinds of Mike songs. I guess probably at least 7 or 8 of his songs in our shows over the last few years, and I just thought Mike was one of the best songwriters and best guitar players. He influenced me as a guitarist tremendously. Sure going to miss him.
My name is Tom Martin. I'm an old friend of Mike Murphy's. We were in the Army together, and I wanted to tell everybody that I miss him. I was with Mike at the very end and at the very beginning. He was influential to many area musicians, and he loved each and every one of them. And I'm sure he's smiling on you right now. Thanks, WTCR, for helping out with the Memorial Fund and what you're doing tonight. And we'll all miss him.
Hi, this is Tony Maynard of the Legends. And Mike Murphy will be sorely missed by all of us. I remember one time when somebody said to me that Mike and I and our bands had a rivalry, and that's when I knew that I was doing something good, because if Mike mentioned it, then it was good. And we'll all miss him, and we hope to see him again. See you later, Mike.